Hello again. I decided to recut the video I put out yesterday introducing the new Pixii Max camera because I decided a lot of you weren't going to be interested in the details about why angles of view are important and how perspective works. So this time we're just going to stick to the specs. That's really about all there is to stick to because while the Pixii Max has been announced, it hasn't been introduced yet. This is not a Pixii Max. Nobody in the real world has a Pixii Max. Probably in Besançon, France, they're still putting together the first examples of the Pixii Max. So everything you've been seeing on YouTube or reading in the photo industry blogosphere has been basically speculation. But I don't mind speculating along with everybody else. So in this video, we're pretty much just going to work through the spec sheets and talk about the differences. I do want to make one thing clear, that really, the Pixii Max and the current model Pixii Plus are very, very similar. The only big difference is that the Pixii Max has a 36 by 24 millimeter sensor, while the Pixii Plus has the well-proven Super 35 size 25 by 17 sensor, which has been giving all of us Pixii users great results. The advantage of having the bigger sensor in the Pixii Max is that it makes it more suitable to be a wide-angle camera. It's not that you couldn't use wider angle lenses on the Pixii Plus, it's just that you'd probably have to put an accessory viewfinder in the accessory shoe to see what the lens was showing. The Pixii Max has been redesigned so that the viewfinder shows up to a 55-degree angle of view, which happens to match the view of a 35 millimeter lens on a 36 by 24 sensor. The Pixii Plus would need to use a 24 or 25 millimeter lens to get that same angle of view. And while there are 24 millimeter, 25 millimeter lenses available in the M-mount, they're few and far between, whereas there's a huge range of choice of lenses with a 35 millimeter focal length. So by going to the bigger sensor, Pixii is essentially giving users a much broader choice of wide-angle lenses. If you don't care about wide-angle lenses so much, you may find that the Pixii Plus is still a more effective camera for you and is considerably less expensive. Now that we've gone through that, let's get into the spec sheets.
Well, the official specifications of the Pixii Max just came out on Friday, and I've been poring over them. Here are some interesting things I've found. First, notice that the magnification of the Pixii Plus finder is 0.67x, or about 2/3 life size. The Pixii Max has the exact same magnification, even though it covers a wider angle of view. To me, this is really interesting. Normally, if you want your viewfinder to see a wider angle, you either have to make it bigger or reduce the magnification a bit. Pixii says they've kept the size the same, so the new finder will fit in existing cameras, and they've kept the same magnification. I'll be really curious to find out how they pulled this off. The next interesting difference is in the sensors. The Pixii Plus has a base ISO, which means the sensor's natural sensitivity without amplification, of ISO 160, while the new Pixii Max sensor has a base ISO of 100. Normally, a lower base ISO translates into more dynamic range, so in theory, the Pixii Max should be able to capture more detail under difficult lighting conditions. Will the difference be seen in practice? Well, I'll be interested to see that too. A third difference is weight. The Pixii Max is 20 grams heavier than the Pixii Plus. Now, 20 grams is the weight of 4 nickels, so you're not going to notice any difference when carrying the camera. I just wonder what got heavier. Now, final interesting difference is in memory. One thing that's been controversial about the Pixii is that it doesn't use removable memory cards. All the memory is built in. The lowest priced Pixii Plus model comes with 16 gigabytes of built-in memory, which a lot of people have complained is too small, even though it amounts to the same capacity as 10 rolls of film. On the Pixii Max, the smallest model has been bumped up to 32 gigabytes, which is equivalent to more than 20 rolls of film worth of pictures. Of course, the Pixii Max is more expensive too, but at least you're getting more memory for more money. So if you've been paying attention, you'll see that if you're interested in joining what I like to think of as the Pixii Cult, What it boils down to is that the Pixii Plus is still a great choice if you mostly shoot with normal and portrait lenses, if you like the idea of carrying a smaller outfit, and if you like the idea of saving a significant amount of money. The Pixii Max may be worth the extra money if you want to shoot a bit wider, or under harsher light, although we won't know for sure how big that advantage is until we've seen cameras. Again though, the Plus and the Max are basically identical except for the viewfinder and the sensor, so both of them have some distinct advantages over cameras that might seem to have more features and cost less. Pixii's upgrade program is awesome. When a new model comes out, you can update instead of having to buy a whole new camera. Nobody else does that anymore. If you're into social media, Pixii has one of the best mobile apps around. You can use the camera just fine without it, but it provides a very slick way to review and post your pictures. Being able to choose what information you see in the viewfinder is a small but really useful thing, and the software-defined computational monochrome mode gives you most of the benefits of a dedicated monochrome camera without having to buy a separate camera. And of course, the big advantage is the rangefinder ethos. You're using a simple, straightforward camera that lets you concentrate on the picture-taking experience without a lot of distractions. But of course, both models have about the same disadvantages too. For me, the biggest one is that there's no mechanical shutter, and that means there's no way to use flash. Batteries and accessories are minor pain points as well. And everybody wishes that Pixii's didn't cost quite so much. Although, remember, this is a high-end specialized camera, and compared to other high-end specialized cameras, it's not so far out of line. The other day, a commenter was saying that for about the same money you could get a Nikon Z8, to which I replied that yeah, and for about the same money you could also get 8 tons of chicken manure. But I don't want 8 tons of chicken manure, and I don't want a Z8 either, although it's a very cool camera for those who like that kind of thing.
So that's all the conclusions that I've been able to draw so far about the Pixii Max. Remember, this is not a Pixii Max. Nobody has a Pixii Max. Nobody really knows about the Pixii Max, but it should be interesting to learn more over the next few weeks. Good luck, and I'll be along for the ride.